Manny Pacquiao fight. I was late.
Yeah, versus
I got the link.
Ugas.
It was 4 a.m. What happened? Did he win?
No, he lost, man.
What?
Yeah. So Manny Pacquiao fought Yordenis Ugas. He's a fighter. I watched the last round only, and it looked like Manny was in pretty good form. Still like right up to the last round, but then I think he just lost on points.
Yeah, man. Sometimes we forget that he's like 42 years old, bro. Like,
yeah.
I'm like 33. I struggle to get out of bed. I struggle when I'm sitting on the floor to get up, you know? Like, he's 42 doing like whole 12 rounds. 12 full rounds against someone who's like in his prime. So you gotta give some props to the dude, man. Like, he
does so much, right? Is he like a senator as well?
Yeah. They called him the fighting senator throughout the whole thing.
Man.
Say again, Garcia?
He's got a whole bunch of jobs.
Yeah.
Like, he's not just focusing on being a boxer. How old is his opponent, by the way?
His opponent was 35. Is 35.
Like, yeah, like almost 10 years younger than him. More than 10 years younger than him.
So he's 42
Unanimous
and 35.
decision.
So
he's almost as old as you, Don.
Who? Manny Pacquiao?
Yeah. Younger stuff.
But yeah.
Oh man, I missed this. I've missed the roasting. I'm ready for it. I think I'm ready for it.
Garcia, did you see the fight?
He's ready for that. He's ready to fight, bro.
For context of all our listeners out there, we had a practice session yesterday, and I made a comment about just being ready to fight and defend a podcast.
And we got a lot of haters right now.
I'd stopped it at, guys, I'm ready to fight, and I'd paused for a second.
So ready, and he lost his sleeves, man. Just for context again, it's winter in Australia right now.
Yeah, who wears a singlet in
exactly.
winter,
There's a little shout outs to Don's arms for not wearing sleeves.
Yo, said those biceps are on fire. So you're getting some.
Carlos, shout outs to Carlos for doing the logo. When he sent me the first version of it, I noticed that Garcia's head's bigger than everyone else's. I'm like, mate, this is not his show completely. We need to even out the heads. 25% each size, like.
He's got a big ego.
We don't want to send out any subliminals out there. Wrong messaging. But yeah,
I don't know why I'm in the middle when I contribute the least.
You know what? And you know why though? Because the photos that I'd chosen for the original like mock-up logo, Raf and I were facing to the side, and then the only one that I found, the one I found of yours was just dead straight on, and I went, okay, yeah, that'll be in this, so you'll be in the center, and you're a pivotal part of this podcast. That's why you're in the center of it.
All right, let's start the show. Yo. Welcome to another episode of the Cheatcoders podcast. This is episode number 157.
157.
And I am here today. My name is Raf, and I am here today with my usual suspects of Don Doing Stuff.
What's doing?
And the balls of the podcast, Garcia.
My new haircut is
and all the way in London town, that's not locked down, is Nats blazing.
Still brown. Yeah, what's up? What's blazing?
And welcome today to a virtual version of the podcast. We are filming this through Zoom, and we're recording this through Zoom. We are currently in lockdown in Sydney, but we'll pull through just for you guys so we can get some new content on your way. So we've been getting a lot of requests for where's the new episode, when's the new episode is coming out, because I'm tired of like binging the old episodes. We need some new stuff, so here we are with the boys.
Can we just say a quick thank you to all the people listening to our episodes, binging all of those old episodes?
Hey.
Thank you so much for our listeners.
Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah. And we got a jam-packed show today. We got a lot of shit to talk about. So that's what you want to say?
No, I was just going to say thanks to the haters too.
Hey, shout out to the haters, bro. You guys really bring the podcast together. You know, you're the balance. You're the yin and the yang.
You need the yin and yang.
You need
see, Raph,
there we go.
Raph,
Great minds just look alike, motherfucker. But it's gonna be so good. And let's get more haters and let's get some more supporters and let's continue the show. So we always start off the show with the wild thought of the week. So let's put Garcia on the spot again with your wild thought of the week. Garcia, what is the wrong one? There you go.
I really didn't have one prepared, but one of the things I was thinking about, not so wild, just like, well, I suppose trying to delve deep into the whole Filipino, language thing. Just like words that don't translate to Tagalog. They're like, say if you're walking into a club and you kind of got to pretend that you're unimpressed to try and look cool and shit. But the word you describe to use that, like, so you say that is like, you go there like nonchalant, right? But I realize how uncool I am because I'm constantly shallotting everything I do. But then I was thinking, like, so things like that. How would you kind of describe that in Tagalog?
I think, like, if it's because nonchalant means casual or not really caring. So what it would be in Tagalog would be walang pakialam.
Walang pake.
Yeah, right? Is that right? That would be that you walk into the club like walang pakialam.
So to chalant is to pake all the time.
Yeah, to me. I see what you're doing. Like with words in like English words like overwhelm. Can you be just whelmed? Can you just be whelmed?
No, I think languages don't translate the same too. Like the orders of some, like with Japanese, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's always sort of backwards. Like sensei. Actually, no, that's the same, isn't it? Wait, a bad example, but you know what I mean. Like like the order of some things. So you wouldn't be going around in the Philippines going, "Oh, you're such a titi ulo," because you're just doing a direct translation of just dick head. But it's probably like the order might be different. I'm trying to think of an example of like another word that might be like another saying.
Yeah.
So I think whenever you go to another country, like pretend you're just trying to learn something else, you'd think like the straight up, well, if this means this, like with French, I'd never really picked it up. Raph might know a bit. But if you know like a few French words and you can put them together, the order you say them might not necessarily be the same. Because in English, we think it goes this way, but it's actually like reverse.
Like in saying it in Tagalog, anong gusto mo is anong is what, gusto is want, what want you, anong gusto mo. Yeah.
That's some wild thoughts, Garcia. I'm so wild.
We can segue. Let's segue out of
dick jokes next week.
I know, I missed the dick jokes, bro. But speaking of dick jokes, so OnlyFans is out there canceling the explicit content. So what's your thoughts on that, man?
That was going to be my news article.
Was it? Oh
yeah, bro.
God damn it! Let's go into it. Let's go to the news article right now. So Don, let's talk about it.
So apparently, the OnlyFans has announced recently that it is going to be banning all explicit content on its platform. Exactly. So after being built on all explicit content, they're going to be banning it. They've announced it recently, and I think all of the sex workers using OnlyFans have started to kind of pivot. And there's an article on the ABC website, abc.net.au, talking about the announcement. There's a really pragmatic sex worker on here. He talks about how he's had to pivot his platform. Is that you, Garcia? Yeah, Garcia's pointing at himself. Because initially he was posting stuff on Snapchat and sending stuff on emails with his subscribers, right? But then now, because of OnlyFans became a popular platform. That's when his fans started to be like, I'll post up on here. And it was just an easy, I guess, one way that he could run his business and share his content. Now, I think it may affect some people, but it may not affect all people. Like if there are content creators that have solely built their subscribership on OnlyFans, and if those subscribers only want to be on OnlyFans, then they're gonna, they may not want to be elsewhere. So I think just like businesses, they'll it'll be like if you only like using OnlyFans as a customer of these people, then you might lose, if you're the business, if you're the content creator, you might lose business because you're going to have to move to a different platform.
So how does it feel to Garcia?
How does it feel to have to move?
The way that I've been looking at it, right, is so like that's like, say for example, if this was talking about crypto, OnlyFans is like Bitcoin, right? Everybody goes to OnlyFans because it's the one that's like well known. But now that that's going away, it's like they've got to go somewhere to get their fix. So all the altcoins, like all the other different cryptos, that's where all that money's going to flow into now, which is kind of a good thing to like diversify and stuff, right? Yeah, it kind of it really like relieves that monopolization of the. I think so, man. There's a whole bunch of like different platforms that I mean, it's not a good thing for OnlyFans as a business,
but they did it to themselves. They changed it. They nerfed
the industry. I think it's good.
It's kind of like one in Thor where they say Asgard is not the place, it's the people. It's kind of like OnlyFans. It's not the place, it's wherever the sex workers go. It's the community. It's already been built. It's there. It'll just pivot off to somewhere else.
Just like the podcast isn't a place. Like we don't, we can be elsewhere. We can be separated and still record the podcast.
And still OnlyFans together.
And still OnlyFans together.
What brought this on though? Like, what made them do this? And
do you reckon they're trying to be like Snapchat? You know how Snapchat was used initially, like it wasn't supposed to be, but everyone was using it for like,
Apparently, it's for longevity in the industry. Like that, they're afraid that it could damage their reputation or make it. Yeah, it's about their longevity in the industry, and I'm not sure how. I think a lot of analysts and a lot of people don't quite understand why that decision, especially when most of their usership has been built up on explicit content.
It's kind of like Pornhub going, "Hey, tomorrow we're gonna ban all porn." It's like, bro, what are you doing, man?
You know what? I think what would have been better for them is if they had just put it as a branch of the business.
But
like it could have been.
Isn't it like I read into it as well. By saying explicit content, it's actual like the porn content, but not they're not banning like nude selfies and stuff. And so the nude selfies are still there. Like you can still get like subscribe to someone and there'll be like pictures of themselves naked, like nude selfies. But the act of like the sexual sex and all that stuff, I think that's the one they're trying to drain out. But still, that's still a huge part,
Was that pun intended there? Was that pun intended, right?
Hey, going back to what you said, Don, I don't think it would work, man. If they tried to make a separate one, you can't have those two things, I think, because there's just too much, eh? It's like, once again, Pornhub. It's like, by the way, we're also making child-friendly content. It's just like, but the brands...
Yeah, that's true.
You already associate it, right? Like every time you say someone has an OnlyFans, like we joke about it. Oh, OnlyFans, where's your OnlyFans?
It'll take a couple of years if they could persist a couple of years or like about like half a decade of just going through the shits of like everyone saying OnlyFans is just porn. I think it'll just phase out, but I don't think they'll exist in 5 years. Was it built
to be to that, or just became that?
No,
it became that.
That's what I was thinking, like Snapchat, because it pivoted. Before Snapchat, every time before, everyone just think if you have a Snapchat, it means because like using it as like a sex app or some shit. But now it's like used as a proper social media platform, right? I don't really have Snapchat, so I don't know.
So they're trying to be
Who still has
Patreon,
Snapchat?
I think Snapchat.
But there was a point where it just became normal.
Garcia
has it for sure. This is business, bro.
I mean, I still have it for the filters. I like using the filters on there, but I don't use it.
What filters? It makes your dick bigger.
Posting stories done with your filters. I know you still got Snapchat.
Yeah, I got it for the filters, but I don't use it as I don't use it to post any of my my explicit content.
Hey,
Where are you gonna go?
That's
Where are you gonna go? There's gonna be a site that pops up. There's gonna be another app that's gonna pop up, and it's gonna be like what you call it.
It'll be fansonly.com.
I also read that OnlyFans is not an actual app because of the fact that it has that type of content. I think they're gonna try and to be an app you can't have like pornography and all that shit.
It's a website.
It's a website, so I think they were trying to be.
I've
an
never
app,
seen it,
so they had to cancel out some shit. But we'll see how they go. Shout outs to everyone who's been struggling on OnlyFans because they're running out of business now. Good luck to you guys because you guys helped the lockdown make the world go around. But yeah, hopefully you find a place. There's gonna be another place. Trust me. Once
for sure.
Plenty, man. Even places like Patreon.
It's supply and demand. It's like
you're just shifting to different platforms, but the product's still the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like what's the quote from Field of Dreams? Like we build it and they come or something like that. Yeah, build something, man. There's gonna be a new platform and then they're all gonna come.
What are they gonna do?
They're gonna come
when you build it,
and they will come. So for real, like shout outs to you guys. Hopefully the struggle isn't for too long. Something else will pop up. Let's talk about Shang-Chi. So Shang-Chi, the Marvel movie, is now going to be a theatrical release. What's your thought? Only a theatrical release. What's your thoughts on that?
Firstly, I think we should say that this is going to be the first ever predominantly Asian-led cast for Marvel. Right?
What is it called?
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Oh wow, yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
It's from Chi-Town.
So he's like, this is like their martial arts movie, and it's from the trailer. It looks like it's going to be an epic kind of martial arts movie mixed with one of those Marvel,
just a Marvel martial franchises. Arts movie. What you can expect from Marvel into a martial arts movie, this is what it's going to be. And the fact that the previous movie Black Widow has been a Disney Plus release as well as a theatrical release. That had a little backlash from not only, I don't know if it came from people, but the actors and actresses themselves. A lot of movies have got backlash from turning into just streaming releases. We could think of like a couple of them, but mainly Black Widow was the one that's predominant out there.
And I think it was announced that ScarJo was going to be suing Disney for releasing it because in their contract it was supposed to be, I think, releasing it on the Disney Plus platform. I think it lowers the amount of revenue that it could produce because it was meant to be released in theaters.
Hell yeah, you've got like a streaming site where you can share it between a family. Like you pay one fee, and then everyone else in the family can see it. And now it's in the internet. You got piracy as well, so everyone's getting good quality versions of these movies because they're going.
What
to
were you saying, Garcia?
Oh no, like on a contract, I think she was supposed to get a percentage of the box office as well. But on a contract, that like it was an exclusion that being released to stream, like that's not on
box office
on her contract. So obviously, it's like all of her money, you know. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's one person's grab. Like for a lot of people, like the majority of the world, I'm guessing isn't in lockdown, so probably wouldn't care. But for us that are in lockdown, it's like when am I going to get to see this shit?
Yeah, like I'm like spewing on the inside that I'm not going to probably see this movie until lockdown's over. Like I won't see this a month later. Because the thing with Marvel movies is that if you don't see it within the first week, you're going to get spoiled the fuck out of it, you know?
Yeah, like,
you're going to have to black out.
Disconnect the internet.
Yeah, disconnect the internet and just don't do anything. But, this is, we're going to have to see how this pans out. I think people are like, I think there's some outrage a little bit for calling this movie an experiment because not in terms of the movie itself, but the way it's been released. Like they've tried the Disney Plus / theatrical release. Now this is an experiment for it to be just a theatrical release only and see how that goes. and there's also people giving backlash because they don't want to leave the house because of the pandemic going on. So they're like, all right, I'm gonna have to not watch this movie because like it's forcing me to do things that would potentially harm the community and people. So it's a really iffy situation for Marvel and movie creators in general, because like, how are you going to put this out? Would you rather risk it and put onto stream, or would you rather be like, all right, stick to your guns and let's make it a theatrical release?
You know, I think like, as much as I really want to see these movies, and the fact that it's on streaming services is great, and that even though we're in a pandemic, we can watch these types of movies, but I really like going to a cinema. I like that experience of going to a cinema and watching a movie, having the popcorn, you know, doing all of that, because you get immersed in the movie, you get immersed in the story. Whereas if you don't have a cinema at home, you can't get into that vibe. You know what I mean? It's not the same. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
I think the thing about it is like, when you're in the movie, you're not allowed to pause the movie and go to the toilet type of thing. I think holding your pee is part of the process of watching a movie. You know, the fact that I watched, just a story is like, I watched Avengers Infinity War, and my gut was like, my bladder was going fucking nuts. That I had to actually go, and the part that I went to the toilet was they were Iron Man versus Thanos. That was the part that I completely missed, and then I came. That's so bad. I know, that's such a bad scene. Again. So the funny thing is, I went back from the toilet, and shout-outs to Shiv. I was like, did I miss anything? And Shiv, being the wife that she is, she's like, no, don't worry, you didn't miss anything. And because like, if I knew I missed that, I'd probably be like, you know, spewing throughout the whole movie. But then I watched it the second time, and then I realized what I missed. So I think because like, now we have it in the streaming sites, you can pause movie and be like, all right, I need to go to the toilet, and then come back, and then it kind of loses you in the momentum of like things. You kind of get out of the film and stuff. So
yeah, that flow.
Yeah,
I missed the movie experience as well, man.
Oh man, I miss that stuff.
I don't miss the cinemas so much. I miss going to the drive-ins, man.
Yeah, I never go to drive-ins that much. Drive-ins are popular in the West, though, in Blacktown, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, because there's one 10 minutes away.
Are they still running that?
No,
I don't think they're open now.
Yeah,
I can't stand a drive-in experience. I don't know. I just like sitting down watching a movie. Me with the drive-in, the window fogs up, and then we're dealing with the radio. I'm just like, leave me alone.
I mean, like,
I get it. You guys are wild thoughts. Like, the drive-in is perfectly down your alley. Like, you know, you can do
that's what I was thinking. It's a wild thought. That's why.
I think in my experience outside of the times that I've gone with my brothers to the drive-ins, it's like, you don't really watch the movie when you go to the drive-ins.
No, you don't.
Because you're so comfortable. You're in a comfortable place.
Yeah, comfortable place. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, there's like 2 minutes in, right? Because you're in this private space of being in your car. I mean, there's people around, but at the same time, they can't hear you. So usually, a lot of the times I'll go there with Ken. And it's always like in his car, it's like maybe 2 minutes into the movie, we're already shitting on it, eh? Like straight away. Like we can full do audio commentary and we can laugh at that shit because no one else can hear us. But we're still getting the cinematic experience. It's really, it's fun, man.
Yeah, you can definitely do that with the streaming sites as well. Like, you just watch a stream and like, we could just talk throughout the whole movie, and you know, it kind of like, it's a different experience, but yeah. I just want to see the movie, like the movies that I want to see it, like no matter what, even if it's in the cinema or streaming. So I hope they kind of change their mind and be like, you know what, let's put this out in the streaming world as well. Hopefully something will change their mind.
Yeah.
Someone call Shane, text him.
But then for all of like the freaky people out there, they just want to go to the drive-ins to have sex.
Obviously, that's what we were alluding to.
Wow.
We called you guys wild thoughts for a reason. I thought we were being subtle on this podcast.
I mean, come on. I had to call it out.
So speaking of not being subtle, so this guy, a British guy, has apparently turned himself really Korean. So like, can you really expound on this, Don?
A British guy wants to be Korean. Yeah, there was someone that as well. There was a girl that wanted to be, right? Anyway, yeah, go.
So there's a British influencer who now identifies as Korean. So he's not originally of Korean ethnicity. I think his name was Jimin Ollie London. So Ollie London he's undergone 18 surgeries to make himself look like a K-pop star.
He's got a what's his on-screen name?
Ollie London.
Shout outs.
I was thinking of a different person then.
So what's your thoughts on the fact that like someone really identifies themselves as a different culture or nationality, and they go to lengths to get plastic surgery and probably other stuff as well, probably hair implants or like, you know, just whatever they can get to turn into this nationality? Like, well, what's your thoughts on that? Like, you really have to dig into some stereotypes to really get into this mind frame that I'm going to be this type of person.
I don't know, man.
I think if that's who they believe that they are, and that's what I want to identify with, and that's what they feel inside, then like I can't really question their decisions, because they just want to feel, they just want to look like how they feel inside, right? But at the same time, I think what you're trying to get at is that, like, will he be accepted as someone who is by the Korean community? You know what I mean?
Like, imagine if some white guy wanted to, imagine it wasn't Korean, maybe it was African, would it be much more of a whole thing?
No, you just reminded me. I think it was a lady, but yeah, it was instead of Korean. I think she wanted to identify as African American. So I think it went to the extent of all that. But then I think the issue became, I think this is during all that stuff that was happening, right? Well, still happening. But then obviously it's like claiming that, you know, that struggle and all that stuff. Because I think that's where it gets a bit, you know, you can't be doing that. You can do whatever you want, to be honest. Yeah. That's why people have, you know, transgender changes and all that stuff. Yeah. You know, nothing's stopping you from that. But at the end, if I just use that example, if you transition to a woman or a man, you're not really transitioning. I don't know. Like, it's a gray area. For me, I don't count that as you're fully transitioned to the other side. You're a transgender person. So this could be just like a trans Korean person, whatever. It's not really Korean, but you can identify it if you want to. But, you know, you can't be like, you know, you don't have the roots for, you know.
If somebody wanted to be, like, had surgeries to be Filipino,
by all means, go for it.
Like, absolutely, like they have every right to do that. But then, would Filipinos accept it?
You can't control how other people feel. Like, that's it. Like, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can do it. Like, there's gonna be people who's gonna hate it.
You could identify as a donkey if you wanted to.
You could.
The donkeys might not like it.
At the end of the day, like, I know there are white people out there who can be more Filipino than I am. Trust me. Like, I've been through high schools where there's always a token white guy per Asian group. Like,
they don't say titi ulo.
Like, there's always a white guy that knows more anime than you do. There's always the white guy that has the Asian yellow fever. You know what I mean?
Is that the yardstick? Is that how we measure somebody?
This is me.
Every ethnic group has the token. Yeah, to be like the other way around. Yeah, there is.
I think it's great. I think it's great that, because it's that person has so much appreciation for that culture that they wanted to embody that culture. Like, he was like, I love Korean culture so much, or the K-pop culture so much, that I want to be it. You know what I mean? And I think that's a good thing.
It's such a small like percentage of what the culture is, though.
If you're doing for just 1% of it, then what's the point? You know, like, there's always the 99% of other stuff that Koreans do. Is that, imagine that you just change your whole look because you like K-pop, but then there's these other things that you want to do, say is like that is really Korean, but you'd be like, nah man, I'm not gonna eat Korean food or whatever. I don't appreciate Korean cuisine, but I like the K-pop, but I'll change who I am. Like you're gonna listen, it's a bit of an iffy topic, as in like, because every person
you can't pick and choose which part of the culture you want.
Yeah, you gotta take
you can't really title
it
as I identify as Korean. You can say I identify as a K-pop boy band.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And not the culture. Like it's, I mean, even then, like say, like if you wanted to be Australian and you go, oh, I'm gonna do surgery and shit, and I'm gonna try and look like Delta Goodrum or some shit, and you go, I'm gonna identify as Australian. Bro, you walk down the street in Mount Druitt, no one looks like Delta Goodrum. You know what I mean? And it's like the same with Korea. Like not everybody looks like a K-pop star, and that's the reason why they're K-pop stars, right? They're that small percentage, like celebrities, and they've gone through a lot of work to look like that too. So it's not even like a natural Korean look.
In terms of appearances, like there's always subtle things and subtle features that people will just miss out. But in saying that, like people, like if you go into, all right, I'm gonna get plastic surgery and call myself Korean, and all you do is just, you know, make your eyes smaller, cheekbones and all that stuff, like you're missing the whole point of the whole thing. Like as Garcia said, like not everyone is that type of person. It's pretty much blackface, pretty much. Like you're just putting blackface onto yourself. Like you're just putting all the stereotypes that you know of a culture, put it onto yourself, and then claim that you are part of it, or like acting as that. And it's just, to me, I don't know, it doesn't really turn me the right way.
I just wanted to bring this up because a few years ago there was this dude in America, right? I don't even know if a transracial person in America who identifies as Filipino. You know what I mean? Like, and this is just, I mean, he changed his name. He changed his name to Jadu, which is not even a fucking Filipino name. And he's just driving around Florida in a tricycle. You know what I mean? Like, that's the...
Yeah, stereotypes, put it together,
and
you know?
straight up, like, what the fuck does it... you're pretty sure there's other Filipino people in Florida who look at that dude and just going, there's nothing Filipino about this.
Hold up. Was he selling sago?
No, he had this, like, stick, and he's got these two... Oh, that's what it was, taho. Out of the tricycle.
He was selling taho out of the tricycle?
I mean, these eggs, right? And then they had like ducks inside them. In Florida, I think it's illegal.
I mean, like if he's going around selling taho and sago, like and he's doing the whole hog, like yelling it out in the streets and doing that, man, all power to him.
Bro, even if the dude was Russian, as long as he's selling taho or sago, I'm calling him Filipino, man.
Yeah, you don't have to go to the lengths to actually change your physical appearance to become a culture, you know? That's what I'm saying. Like, what's cool is that someone in another, I can appreciate someone from another nationality. Yeah. Like, you don't have to go the lengths to just become that. Like, I appreciate, like, say, if there's a Italian dude who full loves the Filipino culture and be like, you know what? Like, I love the Filipino. I know this, and like pretty much, I feel like he knows more than I do. And I can appreciate that. Like, you don't have to look like me to become a part of the culture.
Dude, hard.
It's like it's just that length. It takes another mind to do that. You know.
Here's an interesting thing. That this is like moving away from like identifying as a particular ethnicity, but one experience that I had. Because growing up in Australia, you know, you eat different foods, and you're not always eating Filipino food. And I remember trying to cook sinigang, but a fusion version of sinigang for my parents. You know, it was like crispy skin grilled salmon in a shallow bowl of the sinigang soup with like blanched spinach around the sides of it. It was just like this really wanky version of it. I was just trying to like make it different, and I served it to my parents. They're like, it's nice, but it's not sinigang, right? And it makes me like a better or more successful version of that is somebody like Roy Choi doing his mixing Mexican and Korean cultures.
Yeah, with his poke bowls.
Yeah, put it into his like food. How do you guys feel about those sorts of things, like melding cultures in cuisine? I feel like you can do it fairly easily in cuisine, but melding cultures in general, in different ways. How do you guys feel about that?
I love mixing things, man. Like that's just a part of it. I think that it's a Filipino thing to mix things. We talk about that all the time. You guys have these weird quirks where you mix. What was it again? Like you like to mix particular fruits with.
Oh no, but that's Filipino.
Yeah, like that's definitely
the bagong and mango. But I think Don's talking about
chili salt with pineapple.
Yeah, like those stuff. Like it's part of the Filipino thing to mix things together. Like why not mix different cuisines together? Like I think it's a very Western thing to mix different cuisines together as well. I don't think people from the actual Philippines will agree, but I love mixing things. Like I like eating a sisig burrito. Like when I tasted it for the first time, it was freaking amazing. Like I'm all for mixing everything, you know, like why not? We are to the point where we know these things from our childhood, and then we see these other things from different cultures. And being multicultural, like why don't we just bring it all together, like one big thing? Yeah, turn it into something different. I'm always like having that.
Like having an adobo burrito or something like that.
Yeah, man, be creative.
That would be sick.
I think that's more on the creative aspect of being a chef as well. Anyway, it's like if you relate it to music, you know how you meld different genres as well. It's just trialing it type thing. I don't think there's any sort of disrespect or anything if you're looking at that kind of way. It's just like chefs, maybe they have some sort of influence already, or maybe they're half caste, so they have influences of both sides. It's like, I wonder if I join them together and see things. They usually I don't usually think they succeed that well, very rarely, because there's a reason why certain cultures, like, you know, when it's Filipino, it's just
perfected it for 100 years, you know,
just better. But that's why you go to those fine dining places and they'll do like really like, whoa, this is just brand new, something different. But you wouldn't do it every day.
Yeah, I do appreciate when restaurants try that. There was a place called what's it called? Ray's Place or Ray's Junior in Sydney. They did, I think it was adobo fries. So like you could have fries, and it was like loaded fries with like adobo sauce and maybe like bits of pork or bits of chicken or something on that. I think that would be tasty as hell, man.
What's the weirdest things you've mixed? Like I reckon you guys experimented with some stuff. Like, you know, it's like, I like this and I like this. What if we have it together? What it will taste like? Like, what is the weirdest foods that you guys mix? This isn't
weird, but I feel like it's weird when I tell people. But we all do it. All four of us do it. But you know, when we have rice with KFC, it's weird to everyone else. And I'm not just saying just non-Asians or Asians. Like literally, I think it might just be a Filipino thing. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's a raf thing. You bring rice to KFC.
Yeah,
we bring
love
it. When we go fishing, we buy a bucket, and then Raf would be like, "You bring the rice cooker, bro." It's like,
yeah, bring the cooker.
One of my aunties, we were at a family party, and she, like, we ordered pizza for everyone because we were too lazy to cook one time. And my tita started eating a slice of pizza and then getting a bit of rice. So she'd bite the pizza and then subud eat the rice. And I was watching her like, what the heck are you doing? That freaked me out. I was like, what?
Sounds like you're doubling up on carbs.
Too many carbs.
Your arms are never going to look like mine, Tita, if you keep doing it.
But apparently our pizza is not even real pizza, eh? Like the real proper Italian pizza is like barely got any topping.
Yeah.
Like nothing. It's barely next. So when they see, like, that's not pizza, because it's like, what? And you know, we put pineapple and shit.
Here's a controversy.
Just cover it in cheese.
Let's see if we can like put together another controversial video. How do you guys feel about pineapple on pizza?
You put pineapple on anything.
I like it. I like Hawaiian pizza.
I love it.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
You guys don't like it?
I love it.
Hawaiian pizza? Pineapple?
I used to eat it as a kid, like never really thought anything of it.
Yeah.
But I think I'm kind of, now that I've realized not a lot of people like that shit, I kind of like her. All right, it's crap then. All right.
Hey, Don, let me sidetrack a little bit, because like you mentioned that mixing cuisines to turn it into like one thing. Filipinos have done it before. We're talking about like they've got an Italian dish, and they made it into their own. You know, we're talking about spaghetti. We're talking about spaghetti, bro. Sweet spaghetti, that's the most. That's one of the staple Filipino dishes.
I prefer
and that's
that
from
over,
another culture.
Real spaghetti.
You know, I prefer that over Italian spaghetti for real. Like so.
You know, it's a mad hack with a Filipino spaghetti. Usually, you put mince and sausages in there, right?
Yeah.
You know, instead of those meat, you put corned beef.
Ooh,
it's
corned
so
beef.
Good.
Yeah, I've actually had that.
When it breaks apart, and it's like all those little strands. It's just spread everywhere rather than you know,
put some spam, put some corned beef, make it into a breakfast meal. Like it's gonna be so good. Like I love that, man.
I don't know how I feel about corned beef in spaghetti, but like
you guys are missing out, bro.
It's pretty dope, man.
Yeah, man. It's like putting two things that you love together. Like I was talking about, corned beef, I love. Filipino spaghetti, I love. Put it together, I love. You know, it's friggin' awesome. Like you're missing out. Try it. At least try it.
I don't know.
So you look at me weird.
I don't think people kind of get offended by it, right? I mean, in some ways, if we didn't refer to that as Filipino spaghetti, and we just said, "Oh no, this is spaghetti," I'm pretty sure Italians would probably have a thing about that. I don't that's when people will start going like, "Oh no, that's not a real spaghetti," kind of thing. But we acknowledge that it's not an Italian spaghetti. We know that because it tastes completely different. But at the same time, we're only like working with what we have. So a lot of like places, like say even here in Australia, right? Pho, like that's one of the best things I love. But I've been told that the best pho in Sydney still doesn't compare to the ones that you get in Vietnam. Like it's not so much the fact that like we try so hard, or like we've changed so much. Like even if you try and get the same produce, you just can't, because the produce that we get here is completely different to what they have. And even if you try to get the produce from there over here, the freshness is obviously gone because of that. Trying to travel over here, so it's never going to taste exactly the same.
Yeah.
But the only thing that we can do is like try our best, and you know, again, the whole respect to, try our best to make it, to give that same taste to the locals here, because we can never truly replicate it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and can we stop saying that? Like, oh, it's not better than it is in the Philippines. It's not better than it is in Japan. Like, I'm in Australia and I don't have a plane ticket to travel all the way there to eat the best of the best. Let's just eat the best of the best here in Australia. But like the produce here is great. Like, you know, let me just eat my food without any hassles.
That reminds me of go man, go.
I was just saying no bias, but I actually think the best food's in Australia still.
Yeah.
Like going back to that point, I actually think even if you go to Asia, not putting down Asia because like obviously that's where it was created, but the produce in Australia is just so good.
Yo, Nats.
It's actually, I prefer Asian food in Australia
than
in Thailand as well. Well,
Nats, let's break the internet for a second, man. Me and you.
Yeah.
All right. Like everyone's gonna probably disagree with this fact, and I know you agree with me as well. Where is the best? Where is the best fried chicken? The best fried chicken in the whole wide world. You've been to different countries, man. You traveled around everywhere. America, Asia,
Jollibee right here.
Jollibee. Where's the best? Where's the best fried chicken?
You go to this little street in Sydney Central. It's called George Street. It's a little corner shop called KFC. Hot and spicy.
Hot and spicy, man.
Fucking Town Hall Station is the best. I'm not even. It's the best. You can't beat it.
How many KFCs have you been to?
The world, guys. I lost count. I've lost count.
You've been to America KFC. You had Popeyes.
For context, Nats has traveled to so many different countries and sampled the KFC in each of those countries.
Yeah, because also I'm not much of a food person, so when I go overseas, I go to eat KFC because I'm that guy.
And he found that Australia, hands down, George Street,
George Street in particular.
They've been there for years. Like that
They're open
establishment.
24/7 too.
I think about it now and then. Like I'm just like, oh damn, look what I left behind.
Bro, everyone thinks about the one that got away, their ex and stuff. Nats thinks about
Still.
George Street KFC, Sydney
Is
KFC,
that serious?
hot and
Is that
spicy.
serious?
I'm not kidding though. It's
Bro.
like it's that good. I just like it that much.
Sponsor us, KFC, or at least just sponsor Nats.
I was watching a video of, you know, with people that live in tribes, right? Like, somehow like away from the rest of like, you know, social media and society and things like that. So this video, they give them different type of foods to try and, you know, see how they react. Like the spicy noodles from Korea and things like that, like Western kind of desserts and shit. The one that I watched yesterday was them trying KFC for the first time. And they absolutely fucking loved it.
Bro.
Like one dude, like this old guy, he bit it and looked at the bucket and he goes, if I ever get to meet this man, I'm going to give him a medal. Like he has no idea.
Where they from? The people.
I think it's like tribes in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like tribes people actually.
So not in society. They live in the. Is that what you mean by tribes? Like in the freaking jungles and shit? Is that what you mean? Like,
no, not jungles. I would say probably like mountainous kind of places, but away from Western foods,
away from civilization and stuff.
Yeah.
Moral of the story, bro, is that everyone has had KFC to a point that they've neglected how great it is.
How good it is. Yeah,
how good it is. It's come to a point that
we take it for granted.
We take it for granted, man.
And just all the food in general is really good. But you know what makes it good though? Now that I've been away, I have more of an appreciation because I'd eat food in Australia, but you don't think much of it. It's like
KFC.
Whatever. It's like eat KFC. What is it? Thai food, everything. The pho. You're like, yeah, I eat good, but you don't really think you eat good because that's just your norm. That's your normalization.
That's the norm. Yeah, that's it.
You think you eat good, but you're not. You don't know. But then you step out and you're like, oh damn, I've been eating good.
I'm just remembering when you were back in Sydney, we met up at KFC. We were eating there. You were
first thing, I had a bucket by myself. Don's like, hey bro. I was like, hey, what's up, man? Been a while, huh?
But seriously though, the KFC in the UK tastes different.
It's bad. No, it's not good. I don't think the chickens get enough. I don't think the chickens get enough sun. Maybe.
What about the Jollibee Jollibee chicken?
Jollibee's good. I'm not gonna lie. It's good, but it's just not as good as the KFC.
Nance can taste the difference.
It has to be the one from George Street Town.
Not enough vitamin C and vitamin D.
Hey man,
these chickens aren't getting enough sun.
This chicken doesn't get enough sun.
You gotta trust him. This guy's a world traveler, man. He's traveled around and found the KFCs there and tasted everything that KFC has to offer, literally around the world. And he's said it himself verbatim that Sydney has the best KFC, and it's not the original recipe. It has to be the hot and spicy.
It has to be the hot and spicy.
Has to be the hot and spicy.
And if you disagree, he's ready to fight. He's ready to fight you.
If you disagree, Don's gonna fight you guys. Like Don's doing it for the pod.
Then I'll go in. If he's winning, I'm going in.
That's why he has sleeveless shirts. He's just threatening you guys while you watch this podcast. It's like, I dare you to comment something bad. I dare you.
I helped Don move to his new place. Right, this is his new place, and he moved there a few months ago, earlier in the year. And one of the boxes that we were moving up, it just said the word sleeves on it. And I was like, bro, what do you want me to do with this box? And he goes, donate it to like Salvation Army because I'm never going to use them.
Did you say sleeves?
Yeah, it was just a box of sleeves. He just keeps cutting sleeves off shirts.
All the sleeves from the shirts he's...
Yeah, bro. All of them.
For real.
His jackets.
I know Don. Don likes to protect the world and everything. He likes to recycle things. Like, I've been to his place. He uses rags. He uses sleeves as rags and stuff. Like, for real. Like, he doesn't use, like, paper towels or anything. He uses sleeves from his actual shirts. So, shout out to you, Don. Keep recycling.
I use Don's sleeves as ankle warmers. I didn't want them to go to waste.
Oh, man.
He donates his sleeves to Japan.
Oh, man.
All right, let's do some questions from the audience, okay? So we got some questions that we want to point out for the audience, from the audience. Let me see. Let's see. Don, did you want to talk about anything in particular while I find a question for us?
I mean, on the whole topic of because we were talking about that, you know, that British influencer who wanted to be Korean. It's a little bit like appropriating somebody else's culture, right? There is, but then is it really appropriating if the person grew up with that? Like we grew up in Australia, so the cultural references or the references to Australian culture that we know are part of us, right? A friend of mine, Christian Sabato, has a business called Paddy Wagon, and he sells Caribbean or Caribbean style food. And he's Filipino, but he grew up in Canada with that food, with that cuisine. And so now he's got a business wanting to share what he grew up with, you know, the food that he grew up with. And I think for a moment he was a little afraid that, you know, maybe this is appropriation. But then I think in that respect, it's because that's what he grew up with. It's fine, because he just wants to share his experience. He wants, like, I feel like for us, when we talk about the stuff that we grew up with, that's just us sharing an experience. It's not necessarily us trying to capitalize on like a particular culture.
You said the key word this there, capitalize. It goes back to the intention behind it, because it has to be some genuinity when you do certain things like ventures, right? And that's like, people are going to question it. That's just how it is, you know. You're always going to get like someone like, oh, there's going to be haters and stuff, but he's coming from a true place. And, you know, if his story gets out, or the people that know him will know it's genuine, etc. People that might question it, you know, people will correct them, or, you know, they'll find out, oh wait, he actually grew up. That's the difference. Difference is the whole capitalizing. You have people that jump on a certain thing purely for what business.
Oh, hell yeah. Like dude's an influencer, as in like the guy that wanted to be Korean. So that kind of like really
capitalize on a certain market. So it's almost like, you know, it's like, you know, you don't really care about it.
Okay, since we are going this way, why don't we go straight into the topic of what you wanted to talk about, Don, of Pinoy-Baiting.
Yeah. So Pinoy-Baiting, and I'd never. So one of the most one of our highest viewed videos on TikTok. I think it's almost like 500,000 views now. Humble flex. Not so humble flex. Thank you for everyone watching that, by the way. That's amazing. So people have said that video is Pinoy-Baiting. Now, Pinoy-Baiting is apparently a marketing strategy made up by influencers to capitalize on Filipino nationalism or Filipino patriotism. And so for them, a lot of it would be non-Filipinos reacting to Filipino things, you know, because and a lot of it would be, you know, the screenshots would be Filipino flag and this and saying like, you know, their faces would be like shocked, you know, maybe them trying balot or whatever, just so that they can capitalize on this market that is Filipino. And they were saying that us telling our stories about our titos, our uncles, saying things that we found funny was Pinoy-Baiting. And I was like, nah, is it really? Or are we just really just sharing our experience from when we grew up, you know? But like, as I said, and I think at the same time, we're Filipinos, so... As
I said before, you can't change how another person feels. Like, if that's what they think of us, that's what they think of us. So I can't change it. I'm not going to put more effort into changing that thought, because that's your thought in the first place, and we're living in a freedom world where everyone could, you know, say whatever they want. But to me, myself, I don't feel like if you're expressing what you've experienced and what you like, who you are in the first place, then that's not what you are. That's not classified as this Pinoy-Baiting. Like, I see where the lines can be blurred, because what is baiting? What is this? What is marketing? What is trying to target a demographic? What is this and that? Like, we are trying, like, we have people in different companies targeting a market because they know there's a market there. Would that be considered something baiting? Or like, are they saying that this is a certain type of marketing that is bad, or is all marketing bad? Because all marketing is targeting a demographic, right? Like if we're targeting teenagers, is that teenagers baiting, or is it like if we're targeting like say like people who like this type of things, this is that type of baiting? If we're targeting people who want to be masters, is that masturbating? Like what's sorry, I had to throw that in.
Bro, when you mentioned Pinoy-Baiting, my head went there straight away.
I was waiting for the joke. I was waiting for the joke.
But like for real, like
I do Pinoy-Baiting at least once a week.
Very well executed there, Raf. Very well executed.
Thanks, man. But like for real, like when does it, where's the lines? Where's the lines to this baiting thing? When does it become Pinoy baiting?
I know when it does become Pinoy baiting. I know when it is.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
Go in. At the end, right? We're all like, we are kind of baiting in a way. Like even us, not in a bad way, right? Like, what's the point of doing this if we're not trying to get viewers? Like everyone's trying to promote their product. Our podcast, we're trying to reach a certain demographic. And one, we can't change that we're Filipino. Two, we can't change we were born in Australia. You're going to have two people on both sides of the market. You're going to have people from the Philippines directly that may be offended with what we say because they don't know where we come from. And at the same time, you're going to have people on our side that are just like, you know, you can't impress everyone. We come from a unique place because our upbringing was completely different, you know? And for me personally, when I step back, I have an appreciation for both because you see the worst of the worst on both sides. You do get the like, you know, the Aussie philos or whatever philos that grew up in like not the Philippines, and you can tell that they think they're above like Filipinos, and I hate that. That really grinds me. Yeah. Like they make fun of the accent, and you know sometimes when we do it, we don't come from a place that we're putting it down. I mean, we have a joke about it because our parents do it. You know, sometimes for me it just comes out naturally. I'm not putting it on because I speak Tagalog as well, so sometimes my English sounds fresh and I just have a laugh at it. But we're not coming from a place where we're actually just trying to put people down. But I can see where some, like, you know, maybe people from the Philippines that grew up and they see that, maybe they just see it so much, automatically it's just quick to be like, they're just like these other philos that are too good to be philos. I mean, just saying philos already triggers people. Apparently, I didn't even know that was a bad thing. You know what I mean? And then yeah, it just goes around in that sense. It's just we come from this. This is our story. This is the groups we're reaching, and because there's that, you know, that connection. Of course, it's going to reach Filipinos all around the world, and can't impress everyone in that sense. So
yeah.
But in terms of when it does become an issue, and Pinoy baiting, what it is just being opportunistic about it, because you see some, and I see this a lot. You do see a lot of YouTubers. Maybe they had luck, like maybe a travel YouTuber. They find, you know, some like massive engagement from a Filipino video to do, and then it's just not even genuine anymore. You see everything they do is just purely, you know, like when we do it, we do it, but we're coming from a place that like we're still telling our story. This is real. Now they're just to another extent. They're just banking on it. They don't really care about the actual culture or anything. They just think about the, you know, the numbers and stuff or whatever it is at the end. And it's always that fine balance, especially if you're operating, you know, we operate as a business as well. It may seem like that, but we can only just tell it from our end. And it's like, well, no, you know, we just say what we actually go through. And if it works, it works. And of course we want it to work. It's the freaking point of this if we're not going to reach people. So
yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully people can understand that, you know.
How do you feel about it, Casio?
Well, the Pinoy-Baiting thing, like, from the point of view of, you know, being a Filipino, I see these videos on YouTube, right? There's one in particular that and this is the thing, I'm not even hating on it, man. I kind of enjoy the fact that they're enjoying things in Filipino, you know what I mean? So one of the main things that a lot of Filipinos are proud about is, you know, our singers, right? Like, great singers. And we've got these two girls who, that's what their channel is, like, revolving around, them doing reactions to amazing singers. They all come from Philippines and stuff. And it's stemmed from that to, hey, I actually want to go travel there, or hey, I'm going to go travel 3 states away just to try Philippines because everyone's saying, hey, you should try this shit out. But at the same time, it's like the next time that they put out another video, you know straight away that, okay, what Filipino thing are they going to be talking about now? It's like they don't have a personality outside of that now. You know? But at the same time, I don't think it's a bad thing. Like, it's for the people that do view it, it's like, hey, they actually enjoy the fact that the other cultures are enjoying Filipino stuff, and at the same time, like they're not purely just dick riding the Filipino culture. Right? When they did travel like 3 states to try Jollibee, they tried the palabok, or one of the girls did, and she was like just honest about it. She said, oh, this isn't for me. But this stuff, that's amazing. But this one, I don't know. Like, it's just straight up. Like,
yeah,
Filipino people are interacting with them, saying, if you really enjoyed this, you should try that. Or since you reacted to a Jollibee commercial, you should actually go try Jollibee, and they actually do it. You know?
Yeah.
So. But on the other side, like there are people that the travel blogs and stuff. I've been hearing this controversy about this one cunt who goes to third world countries and saying, "Hey, this is Philippines, 7 minute or 1 minute of the beauty of Philippines and stuff." And he has always got some like heartwarming message at the end, is going, "No, even if people don't have a lot in these communities and stuff, what they do have is a lot of love and all that bullshit." Because apparently this cunt was going around to these places, people would open up their homes to him, and this, not everybody speaks English, but when he talks to his staff, just going, oh, let's go, just really like banking on the, hey, let's sell this shit, right? Like, you've got that agenda to try and make this look like a very typical fucking influencer YouTuber trying to, make money off of that thing. And the fucking thing is, like, this dude's big on Facebook. It's like he's made his kind of name online based on doing, it's just exploiting people that have it bad. So, and
it's perfect playground for these types of people, because most of these people are like very narcissistic, like borderline, probably like sociopathic, to be honest, for sure, to be in that level of like just zero care. Because you go to that extent. I think a long time ago there was, I'm not going to delve into it because it's just too much, but similar thing. It's just on that concept of just banking on a thing because it works and going full swing. Like this lady that does a family vlog. I mentioned this before, and they adopted like a special needs kid because it was doing well for the views, and eventually they ended up giving the kid away because they realized it didn't fit the program or didn't.
You talked about it on a previous episode.
It's fucked up, but it's the same thing. It's this type of person that could do this, and usually they are successful because they're relentless. There's no conscience behind it. They just go in, and that's how they just build whatever they build, and see it all the time.
They're basically exploiting people, right?
Exploitation, on another level. So
at the end of the day, real will recognize real. Like, some people, like, if your content is really genuine, like, I know it's corny to say and like repetitive, but if you have genuine content, people will recognize it as genuine content. Like, some people might fall through the cracks and get so much attention in the wrong way, but that's the way of the world. But if we can be able to teach ourselves to recognize what's genuine and actually research and not judge a content creator by one video, one snippet, or actually see through their work and be like, you know what, there's more to it. There's more to it than just this, what I saw for like a minute. There's more to it than what I saw in this whole video. There's like other things. If you're quick to judge someone just by a second, then that's you. But if you can really learn to go through the content and be like, all right, he's not a bad person after all, and then get a little context behind what's going on and what you saw in that 1 minute, then power to you. If we could learn that, then we could actually find the real people that we could really support, rather than get these fake people and people who like to use particular cultures as way to market and make themselves more successful. That'll be a way to stop them. If we could just figure out what genuine is to you.
Let's stop all these betas. Let's stop all these masturbators.
Hey. All right, let's get into the
Saturday night. Pinoy-Baiting.
Let's get into these questions from the crowd. So the first person, let's shout outs to, this is Marks. He goes, bro, talk about how you can just recognize a Filipino like instantly. So let's talk about it. So this is Marks wants us to talk about how you can just really get your Filipino radar going and notice who's the Filipino out of the bunch. Are you able to, if there's a bunch of Asians, of different Asians, South Asians, East Asians, everything, are you able to figure out who's the Filipino out of them? Do you have that radar?
I think there's this is kind of like a dangerous place to be, because I feel like you kind of can, but based on the stereotypes or the, like, you know, what you kind of consider a Filipino to be. Because somebody, I remember meeting somebody and they said to me, like, are you Filipino, after hearing me sing? And then just being like, oh yeah, because all Filipinos can sing. You know? And I'm like, is that racist? Is that because, like, just you've taken a stereotype of Filipinos and just recognized maybe you're Filipino because you can sing? You know what I mean? Yes. Yes.
Didn't have to be all about stereotypes.
This was at the Filo Fiesta as well. Are you Filipino?
Like people walk up to me.
But I know for sure, like, that there is like a sixth sense that Filipinos can just be like, Filipino ka ba? Filipino ka ba? Like that's the Filipino ka ba? Pronounce this. Nakakapagpapagabag.
Oh shit.
Like, I think the radar has grown. Like, when you grow up with this culture and then these people like around you are the same culture as you can get it. Like, you have this little radar. But the one thing I hate about it is that when I was working retail, people would come up to me like and be like, are you Filipino? And then they look at me and they'll be like, and I'll be like, yes, I'm Filipino. And then the next thing they would ask is, can I get a discount? And I'm like, bro, like, what? He's like, you gotta help the culture out. Like, I'm
guilty.
Don't do that. Don't do that to me. Like, if you go up to, don't do that to anyone, because like, don't put your culture to get a discount. You know, like, you know, earn a discount. You know what I mean?
Has
Like,
it worked though?
but yeah, like that's how I noticed. Like, people. After that, I ended up being Indonesian. Like, stuff it. I'll be Indonesian. I am not going to go through this discount.
You get Indonesian people asking you for discounts or not?
Yeah.
Transform to Raj with the beards. It's like, that's why he's got a beard, bro. He's like, I'm tired of getting asked for discounts.
That's it. The reason why I have a beard is just like, I don't want to be asked for discounts anymore. Just because you're Filipino and I'm Filipino doesn't mean you're going to get a discount. Like, we could recognize culture. Like, I'm happy to, like, you know, do some Filipino stuff with you, but I'm not going to give you a discount, bro. I don't know you. I don't know you, bro.
What kind of Filipino stuff are you going to do with them?
I don't know. We could, like, dance and wear barongs and stuff and and karaoke. Whatever stereotype you want to throw at me, I'm good. But, like,
whatever secures the sale.
Yeah, that's it. Discount? Nah. Money. But, like, how about you, Garcia? Do you have a radar of Filipino?
I think my radar is terrible. Like, we went to school with some people that are Indonesian. I thought they were Filipino right up until when we graduated. So,
how long? Wait, how long did you know them for?
Like, throughout, like, high school. Like,
you didn't know. You waited until graduation. Be like, by the way, you Philip, bro?
Are you talking about Chris? Are you talking about Chris?
Yeah, Chris Sanic was one of them. Like,
Shout out to Chris.
Man,
like, I had this.
to tell.
I had the same thing. Like, I'd been going to high school with him for a couple of years, and then I spoke to him in Tagalog one time, just randomly, and just didn't cross my mind. And he's like, "Bro, I'm Indonesian," and I went, "Sorry, man. Sorry, I completely forgot." He's like, "You've been to my house. You've met my mom."
You didn't get the surname. He would have had like a different, not a Spanish surname for sure.
Yeah, and it was just me, like,
oblivious. I didn't grow up in Philos, you know? Like, where I grew up, I was the only Filipino in my school.
How did it feel?
I felt a bit weird. I felt a bit like didn't belong. Like, I mean, like, I automatically got pigeonholed to like Asian groups, but I was kind of always like in the mid ground, so I'd be able to get along with different groups, but I never felt, you know? So I'd always be with like Chinese, but you feel like a bit of an outsider because they'd always speak Cantonese and stuff. So I'd be like the token, like sort of trying to get with the words and stuff, but never really felt. I actually only felt really part of a group was when music, and then obviously met Raf, the guys, and everyone's Philly, and I'd just be always traveling to the west naturally. But I grew up in southeast, I think. What is it? Hurstville area. It's weird, man. It's different.
Yeah, man. Like, do you have a radar of some sort? Like, would that bring up? Like, do you recognize a Filipino?
Bit, yeah. It's not a good radar. No, I have two examples then. There's two examples just to balance it out. The good radar is when I do meet a Filipino, like one friendly, like very friendly. And then once you find out the Filipinos, it's just we're bros kind of thing. It's really good. It's like, you know. But the other one that I can't stand, and it's back to that whole thing. It's like the Filipinos that are too good to be Filipino. And they probably think I'm like a fresh Filipino, maybe. That's why they're like that to me. And I'm like, bro, I speak Tagalog, man. I was born here as well. You know, I'm like more Australian than you. Yeah, why are you acting like you're too good for me type thing? I hate that. That grinds my gears so much. But yeah, that's one I can detect. And I've experienced a lot. It's like, because I'll just naturally like, it's just another layer. You know, when you meet someone that's a singer or you meet someone that's, you know, something that relates to you. It doesn't have to be race. So naturally you'd think like, oh, we can sort of connect on some level. But then like, you know, if you put the race thing, you meet a Filipino, it's like, hey, oh man, I feel like, you know, we born here. That. And it's like, they're too cool. It's like, nah, I hang with my whoever else friends that are, bro, just like, you know, not doing yourself a favor type thing. You still can't change who you are if you think you're, you know, better than our people type thing. So
not a big percentage.
I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like when they're too whitewashed in a sense that well, you're not really either, aren't you? Like, you know, in that sense.
All right, let's move on to the next question. So this is from
that was a dark way to end that.
I know. I'm just like, let's get up here. Let's go to another question. It's Juniper.88.
Juniper.
She wants to talk about combining names with like parents combining names to their children. For example, Junior and Maria could be Junmar or something like that. So like,
do you want to tell this story, Garcia, or do you want? Shall I?
She's gonna kill me for sharing this shit. So my cousin, right? So straight up, my Tito's name is Tito Boy, and my auntie's name is Tito Gigi. My cousin's name, her name's Boyji, but with it spelled with a V. So it's just them, you know, the two names put together. So at the time, like when we were kids, it was just a natural thing. Oh, that's her name, Boyji, because I never called my Tito Boy. I just called him Tito and Tita. You know, you just don't use first names.
Yeah.
And then when I found out, I was spun out. I was like, man, you've got a brother, and that what name do you use now? Like, you know what I mean?
I remember meeting your cousin, and then I'd be like, they went boy G, like boy and G. They could have gone the other way and just named you G boy.
G boy. It sounds Islander.
G boy.
Oh, true.
But like these joining names together, I think us Filipinos were ahead of the curve, because you know how like when they, what do you call it? What's the word? They ship for someone's relationship on a TV show. They join the names, or like if like say Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, Brangelina. Like before that, the Filipinos were the first to actually start doing that, and they were taking it to the next level. They were taking it to their children. Like, you know what? Our love for each other is so deep. And my love for you, because Filipinos are really passionate people when it comes to love.
100%.
And then my love for you is so deep that our children's going to be the symbol of
name
us.
Is going to be Pinoy-Baiting. I love it.
You love baiting so much, it's gonna be in the name.
You gotta, Christian. You have to find someone with with a thing on their name, so that your child could be Wild Thing.
It's Wild Thing. Christian Jessica Alba. It's got a ring to it, man. I like it.
we could get that, but like I believe, you know, like this thing, like we're coming from a country. This is Australia, right? We love to simplify things. Simplify everything. Well, why not do this? Let's do it, man. Instead of like,
you know, simplifying things, people's names here in the UK is rude. Apparently,
it's shortening
things. Yeah. So if like pretend like we eat Japanese food, right? In Australia, right? We're like, what do you guys feel like, Jap?
Oh, but that's because it was like a term that they used back.
Yeah, it was derogatory back in the day.
But no, it's not just Jap. There's like different. I'm just using
how about actual names?
Like Aussie instead of Australian. I don't think that's rude, right?
That's because the culture of Australians is very much about abbreviation. Like we abbreviate everything.
Oh, I doubt it, because like the British call themselves Brits, right? Or is that like something we put upon them? We just call them Brits, and we
a Scot or
Brits.
something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they call each other Brits. Like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, but that's you're calling yourself that. So we can call ourselves fillers.
Okay, it's one of those things. All right, cool. I don't know. All right, so let's
Shout
go.
out to all the people that have combination names, like
Hey, shout
compound
outs.
names. Like
You know, I actually identified with both my parents' surnames when I was younger. So I actually thought my full name. Well, I still could, but it would have been just Nathan Joseph Montenegro de la Cruz. It's so long. So that's still, like when I was in primary, I'd be like, "Hey, I'm Nathan Joseph Montenegro de la Cruz."
How about
Montenegro is my
using
mom's.
middle names? Middle names
Joseph,
becoming
yeah.
maiden names of
Yeah,
your
but-
mother. Because my middle name is Umpire, which is my mother's maiden name.
Mum's.
That's a Filipino thing, right? Like,
Yeah. My middle
Yeah.
name was my mum's last
yeah,
name.
yeah.
Well, I had a middle
that's-
name and my mom's maiden name as well. So it's like 4 names. And then I was like, this is too long. I need to change this.
I remember, so growing up Catholic, you kind of have to choose a confirmation name. So after you go through all the sacraments of in Catholicism, you get confirmed and you choose a saint's name or a name to be confirmed with. And so the name that I wanted, because I loved watching The Simpsons when I was younger, I saw that there was a Saint Bartholomew, Saint Bart. Yeah. And I was like, Mom, Dad, I want my confirmation name to be Bartholomew. And my dad arced up. He was just like, what's wrong with your name, huh? You're going to be... He's like, what's wrong with your name? I named you, your mom and I named you. Like, what's wrong with your name? And I was just like, well, fine, I'll choose a better name. And he's like, no, your confirmation name will be your name. So I was confirmed Don Angelo.
Oh, legit? Is that what happened?
Yeah, bro.
Love it. My dad did the same thing. Because I have the same name as my dad. My name's Rene. My dad's name's Rene. My confirmation name was Rene. So, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it.
Rene.
I don't think I have a confirmation name. Did I even get confirmed? I don't even know.
I got to choose mine.
I wanted to choose a Saint Bartholomew.
What is it? Wild Thought?
No, it's, you know...
Saint
what's
Wild
weird,
Thought
right?
is wild,
my,
man.
My confirmation name's Joseph, right? So
Oh.
it's Christian
hey.
Joseph. Legit. So
Oh, okay.
Chris Joe, the real one right here.
Real Chris Joe.
Chris Joe.
I'm fucking Jesus' dad, bro.
Oh man, dope. That's great.
But you got a compound name, Tom.
Apparently, so there's. I was asking my
It's
parents.
only 3 letters, but it's still compound if you think about it.
I thought it may have been short for something. I didn't realize your name was
It's the
just
first
gone.
2 letters from your dad's name and the last letter in your mum's.
Oh.
Yeah,
What's
so
your dad's name then?
my father's name is Douglas, and my mom's middle name starts with an A. Her name is hyphenated, and I think my name's supposed to be hyphenated to Don Angelo. And growing up, a lot of people thought I was named Donald. You know, because when I moved to high school, I actually have a childhood nickname. So because it's Don Angelo, when I was in primary school, I was called DA. And my cousins tease me about this all of the
GA.
time. DA. And my grandmother used to pronounce it GE because she had a really strong accent. She's like, GE, how are you, GE?
That's when the D turns into a J, right? Like
Yeah.
Naja instead of
Yeah.
Nadia.
Yeah. And then because of her accent so strong, the A just sounded like an E for some reason.
Yeah.
But I remember when I graduated from like primary school, on my award it said D, uppercase D, lowercase A, and my dad was upset about it. He was like, his name is not Da, okay? His name is Don Angelo. He got really upset. He was, God bless my dad. He,
I would have kept that shit, bro.
Devalix.
Yeah, the Valix, right?
I mean, it's cool now. Devalix.
It's like Deville, but Devalix.
But when I moved to high school, I decided to reinvent myself and call myself Don.
The rebrand.
The rebrand. And call myself Don, so I left that childhood nickname
DA.
aside. But my aunt, like some of my aunties and my cousins still call me that. Recently,
rap name.
when we were on a
Of course,
call,
Nats would think it's a cool rap name. It was in his rap name already.
DA.
Nat's the Pinoy rapper.
Yeah. So
D'Angelo.
DA.
DA was his middle name.
My middle rap name. That's had so many names.
All right, let's go for this last question. This last question is from. Let's see. Who's
Who's
this?
it called you, Donald? Because you never wore pants.
Donald Duck.
All right, so this is from Mel's BC. So she wants to talk about how were you guys disciplined as a kid? Were you spanked, yelled at, grounded? Or the Filipino way of like, how were you disciplined as a kid?
Damn.
I didn't really want to. I wasn't thinking of sharing this shit at the time. But like, so my grandma, she's like tough as nails, man. She, like, God knows what she did. Like, my grandma was a pimp. Like, she had a stable. She smack them, like, keep them in line and stuff. So being raised by, I'm not even joking. She was a pimp. Like, she was a real pimp. So being raised by someone that has to look after all these women, like, I was, that kind of discipline, man. Like, I did a comedy bit ages ago about, I was writing this shit about how I was, being raised by her, I was kind of treated like one of the ladies. Because I come home from school and she'd be asking, like, where's your homework? The way she would ask those girls, where's my money? That kind of thing. I get slapped with full boss on my face. Like, if but I mean, the slapping thing didn't happen so much as one of the things I used to do, I used to do stupid shit as a kid, but one of the things that she made me do was kneel on either salt or mung beans, and I'd have to hold my books like up, like arms like straight up, hold some books there and hold that up, and if my arms start to fall down from the weight, the stick would like whack on my arm, and I'd be like straight back up, and oh man, it straightens you out, man, like tough love,
Yeah,
That's
with that
crazy.
static isometric exercises.
Yeah, I mean, my quick twitch fibers are crazy.
Bro,
It was,
so your grandma was a pimp, right? So did she say anything like "Gusto mo palo, man"?
Mine.
Gusto mo palo, man?
Got out of Cadillac and shit.
My
Bro, your grandma was
Damn,
hustle
man.
and flow,
Is
bro. I
Lola gonna have
swear,
to choke a bitch?
man.
Oh man.
Oh, how about
But
you guys?
yeah, like she was tough as
Wild,
nails. But at the same time, that's like Lola, right? Because I would kind of fear that person from, like, if I did wrong, I know she was gonna come down on me hard. But at the same time, when some shit happens, she was like, her arms were like the safest place in the world. Like Lola's the person you run to. So it's a weird kind of, I love her and fear her at the same time,
Yeah.
And because of the thing that she was doing, she was feared by a lot of political motherfuckers and cops in the Philippines too.
That's
It's
gangster.
like,
Damn,
how
that's
funny.
crazy.
Like when we rocked up to her funeral.
You're like from a real gang, bro.
It's
Filipino gang.
I mean, it's not like I don't know.
Kind
I think it was just like
But she was respected. Power.
Like think about it this way. Like, so if like nowadays, right? If you open up a business of like an accountancy firm or some shit, usually you have like accountancy groups, like the way that your businesses are grouped and stuff. If you've got a number of businesses, tax wise and things like that, you group them in a certain way. So that kind of industry in Philippines, mainly in Pasay, back in the day, like my grandma had different kind of businesses like that, and the way that she would do the accounting and things, like make them work together, that was looked at by the local government as a very efficient way of doing things. So they implemented that kind of managing a business with all the other industries as well within that local government. So she became like good mates with those guys, and that Duterte dude, he became a president recently, right? But the president before him, or the administration before him, that vice president was at my grandma's funeral because of that shit.
Wow.
Like, it was just like, I didn't realize Lola was connected like this, but it kind of brings back memories now of whenever we went to Bills and we'd be like at a fucking crossroad or traffic going like the wrong direction, of a one-way street, and the cops would be like, "Hey, you can't be going. Oh, Lola, I didn't realize you were in there. All right, let me move all these cars so you can get through."
That's
like
gangster.
that kind of thing, because they like you've got a business. Like, this cop's fucking been to that place, right? So it's like, if I don't want to, have any troubles, my wife, I don't want that shit to go out there.
That's like the mafia,
Let me
bro.
take care of you kind of thing.
Damn, this guy's gang affiliated, bro.
It's pretty dope, but at the same time, kind of scary.
In the chat, I was like, Garcia's OG gang.
How about you guys? Do you guys have any gang stories? I mean, discipline stories?
Gang stories. I mean, like, I think most people, most Asians growing up in our generation were disciplined by getting smacked, right?
Yeah,
got hit in palo, and I think like that. I think that affected me a little bit, and I remember going on a date with this one girl, and she wanted to do some of that, like some really kinky stuff,
spanking.
So she wanted me to like smack her, and she wanted me to like choke her and do all this stuff, and I remember I was having sex with her. And she came back to my place. We're having sex, and then, like, she slaps me in the ass. She slaps me in the ass as hard as she can. And in that moment, like, all of the memories of being smacked as a kid start flooding into my brain.
Oh, you're traumatized.
And I paused and I looked directly deep into her eyes, and I said, and I came the hardest I've ever come in my entire life.
Whoa, that's some Norman Bates shit, man.
That's Norman Bates.
That's some Norman Bates shit, bro.
So Nats, you're the only person who has not heard that joke outside of this group. Now. So I use that joke in my comedy set. Garcia and Rafa.
Is it true then? Is it real though? Or is it like for a skit? Oh damn! Okay.
Don't worry,
I was gonna say, man, you need like some TikTok snippet, and maybe a little bit of.
I mean, I've definitely had a chick slap me like in the ass when we're having sex, and the truth of the story is she did it, and I looked at her and went, "Don't do that."
Oh man!
Don't do that.
You can't yuck her yum.
That's yuck her yum. What a quote! Can't yuck her yum.
I mean, like
that's her yum.
All respect to her if she likes that, but I didn't like it at the time. I was like,
it's not your thing.
Nah, don't do that.
Try to nip it in the butt, like really quick.
Yeah,
literally. You ain't making a mark on this. You ain't making a mark on this.
Oh man,
Don getting down and dirty. It's funny.
All right, so let's see is there any other topics you guys want to talk about before we go? Or are you happy with everything?
Oh man,
anything in the comments?
I gotta head out like in the next 10, so maybe.
Yeah.
No,
unless there's anything else.
Let's call it. There's heaps that we've talked through, man.
Okay. So thank you guys for listening to this episode. Where can we find you guys before we go into the Cheatcoders stash? So Don, where can I find you?
You can check me out, dondoingstuff.online, dondoingstuff.online. That's my website. If you want to check me out on social media, it's at dondoingstuff on Instagram, TikTok. If you want to see my music, Don Valix on Spotify and all music streaming platforms.
I just realized we just ended on Don getting spanked, but it's okay. So Garcia,
spank.
Where can I find you?
Garcia.
Instagram.
Roll call.
_Garcia.
Not paying attention.
How about you, Nats? Where can I find you, bro?
Cheatcoders.
Hey, Nats, where can I find you?
Well, my socials are back, but mainly Twitch and Twitter. If you're down to check it out,
hey, promote some of your streams, man. What are you doing
Twitch
now?
TV. I play a lot of games, blockchain games. That's my new little thing that I spend a lot of time on. So if you're interested to, check it out, come to Twitch, Twitter. If you just want to see me just hype things like I usually do, that's what I'm good at. I'm hyping things.
Do it.
Hyping things. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And obviously, my my other socials are there: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Nothing too active, but we'll see.
And you can find me raflores.com, hyperbrand.com, anything to do with your video needs. Right now we're on lockdown, so anything to do with your editing needs, you can send some files to me. I could edit it up, or for a good price. And yeah, so that's my business. If you need anything, just let me know. You know, if the lockdown comes, if there's no longer a lockdown, we're gonna do some stuff, man. So let's go into the Cheatcoders stash. So let's start off with,
you can check us out at www.thecheatcoders.com,
or you can check us out on Instagram at the Cheatcoders, or on TikTok, the Cheatcoders,
or on Twitch as well,
or on Twitch,
or on
the
TikTok.
Everywhere you go,
check TikTok
just
everywhere.
type in on the search bar the Cheatcoders. We're bound to be there.